Welcome into this edition of the Friday Fantasy Football Fix. Hour number one, we give you one player to start, one player to sit, and we start with the quarterback position. In this hour, I've actually got two quarterbacks for you. I'm going to go an obvious one and then a less obvious one. We'll go with the obvious one first, and that's Drew Brees, Saints quarterback. This guy has been very, very good this year. He's proven that last year, that injury hurt him a little bit more than I think we had all anticipated and all thought, that shoulder injury. But he's coming back with a vengeance. He's got a bunch of weapons. They're off a bye, and they're at home. There's not a lot of things more certain than Drew Brees playing well at home in the Superdome in New Orleans. When he's at home, coming off a bye, 695 passing yards, 9 touchdowns. And that's just in 2 games. So you're starting Drew Brees this week against a weak Carolina defense. They should be able to exploit the cornerbacks and the linebackers. They're allowing a ton of tight ends to score. I think 3 of the last 4 weeks they've allowed a tight end to score. Those linebackers have. And Colby Fleener should get himself on the board. And Drew Brees will be solid this week for your team or daily fantasy team as well. The less obvious choice now is Mr. Brian Hoyer. This man has been Wally Pipping Jay Cutler for the last 3 weeks now. And don't look now, but he has been the 3rd best fantasy football quarterback. I actually picked him up and played him last week when he had his best game for Drew Brees, because Brees was on a bye. Picked up Hoyer. He did wonders. Him and Jordan Howard basically saved my bacon this past week because my wide receivers scored 1 point combined. Not good. But I ended up winning, so it was fine. But let's get back to Brian Hoyer. Since he's taken over as the starting quarterback in Chicago, like I said, Wally Pipping that man, Jay Cutler, who just can't seem to quarterback that Bears team for anything. Brian Hoyer is actually getting something out of this team. He has weapons. Jordan Howard, Cameron Meredith, he's actually played into an actual target this year. Alshon Jeffrey, who I think is going to have a very, very big week this week. And of course, Eddie Royal's there. But these last 3 weeks that he's been quarterback, in that 3-week span, no quarterback has thrown for more passing yards, and only 3 quarterbacks have more passing touchdowns than a Brian Hoyer. He's not going to be the long-term answer, but he could be that answer for you, your fantasy football team, especially this week he's going up against the Jags. That is a tasty matchup for Mr. Brian Hoyer. And our sit-em this week is going to be Colin Kaepernick. He's going against the Bills. He's getting a chance to start. I don't know if he's going to cut the throw down or if he's going to have to get a bigger helmet. I don't know. We just know he will not get a concussion if he has that thing on his head still. But he's going against the Bills at Buffalo. And Rex Ryan, he's finally figured it out with this team. He's tried to turn them around. They lose Sammy Watkins, but the defense has been playing much better. The Ryan brothers duo have been very, very efficient over these last 3 weeks, and they're eating up bad quarterbacks. They've beat Palmer, Brissett, Keenum on this 3-game winning streak, and they've held those 3 quarterbacks to get this, a combined 17 points. Now, not 17 points each, but a combined 17 points between the 3 of them. Brissett, Keenum, not too impressive, but Palmer, that's pretty impressive. That Arizona offense is usually pretty good. And I don't think this Colin Kaepernick-led San Francisco 49er offense is very good. So with that, I'm assuming that this team will not be able to put up big points against Rex Ryan and Rob Ryan's defense. And I don't know how Colin Kaepernick's going to look in that up-tempo offense. Yeah, I thought this would be a perfect fit with Chip Kelly coming into San Francisco, but still, I've got to see it first before I believe it. So we're starting, obviously, Drew Brees, less obviously, Brian Hoyer, and we're sitting Colin Kaepernick. And that's your Friday Fantasy Football Fix, hour number one.